Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Unfiltered and Unapologetic. I'm your host, Caitlin, and if you're new here, welcome. This is a space where we have honest conversations about faith, wealth, wellness, relationships, personal growth, and the emotional experiences that shape the way we see ourselves and the world around us. The beliefs we inherit, the patterns we repeat, and the ways we begin building lives that feel more aligned with who we're becoming. So, whether you're driving to work, out for a walk, at the gym, making dinner, or winding down after a long day, I'm really glad you're here. Let's get into today's episode. Today's episode is called I Thought More Money Would Make Me Feel Safe. Emotional wealth versus financial wealth. Last week, we started talking about money, not just saving or investing, but about the emotional side of money, about the stories we carry, the beliefs we inherit, and the way those things shape the decisions we make. After I finished recording that episode, I couldn't stop thinking about one question. What is it that we're really looking for when we say we want more money? But if we're honest, I don't think most of us are chasing money itself. I think we're chasing what we believe money will give us. Security, freedom, peace, options, stability, the ability to finally exhale. For a long time, I thought those things automatically came with making more money. I thought if I could just reach the next financial milestone, I'd finally stop worrying. I'd finally relax. I'd finally feel like I had made it. And while I still believe financial stability is incredibly important, I've realized something that surprised me. Financial security and emotional safety aren't always the same thing. Today, I will be exploring that difference. Not because money doesn't matter, it absolutely does, but because I think understanding that difference has changed the way I think about wealth. And maybe it'll change the way you think about it too. So I want you to think back to a goal you've had. Maybe it was paying off a credit card or buying your first home, landing a better job, getting a raise, starting a business, or maybe it was simply having enough money to stop checking your bank account before buying groceries. Now think about why you wanted that goal. Was it really about money, or was it about what the money represented? Because I don't think most people dream about having a certain number sitting in a savings account. I think we dream about what we imagine life will feel like once we get there. We imagine waking up without anxiety. We imagine feeling less pressure. We imagine having choices. We imagine finally being able to exhale. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Money can absolutely improve our quality of life. It can help us leave unhealthy situations. It can help us access health care. It can help us support our families. It can create opportunities that didn't exist before. Money solves real problems. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. Sometimes conversations like this accidentally make people feel guilty for wanting financial success. That's not what I'm saying at all. I believe in investing. I believe in building wealth. I believe in learning how money works. I'm literally getting my master's in finance. So this isn't about pretending money doesn't matter. It's about recognizing that somewhere along the way, many of us started believing that money would also solve problems it was never designed to solve. Not just financial problems, but emotional ones too. I remember a season in my life when I kept thinking, if I could just make a little more money, everything would feel easier. I wasn't dreaming about becoming rich. I wasn't thinking about luxury. I just wanted to feel safe. And maybe you felt that too. Maybe your number is different than mine was, but I think almost all of us have one. The number where we imagine life finally becoming less stressful. The number where we think we'll stop worrying. The number where we'll finally feel like we've caught up. But something interesting happens. We reach one goal and another one appears. We finally get the raise. And now we're thinking about the next promotion. We finally pay off one debt and immediately start worrying about the next financial goal. The finish line just keeps moving. Behavioral economists call part of this hedonic adaptation. Our brains adapt surprisingly quickly to positive changes. The salary that once felt life-changing eventually becomes our new normal. The apartment we dreamed about becomes the apartment we wish had one more bedroom. The savings account we once prayed for suddenly doesn't feel big enough. That doesn't mean we're ungrateful. It means our brains are constantly adjusting to what's familiar. But I don't think hedonic adaptation is the whole story. I think there's another reason some of us never feel like we have enough. And it has nothing to do with our bank accounts. It has to do with what we believe enough is supposed to protect us from. Because if we're really chasing is certainty, control, or the hope that nothing bad will ever happen again, there may be a number that completely satisfies that fear. And that realization completely changed the way I think about wealth. I've been thinking a lot about this lately, not because I stopped wanting financial success. If anything, studying finance has made me even more excited about building wealth. I love learning about investing, how businesses grow, understanding how money works. So this isn't about lowering our ambitions. It's about becoming curious about the expectations we place on those ambitions. Because I don't think we're just chasing goals. Sometimes we're assigning emotions to them. We tell ourselves, when I finally buy a house, I'll feel settled. When I finally pay off my loans, I'll stop worrying. When I finally make 6 figures, I'll finally feel successful. Without realizing it, we've placed a tremendous amount of responsibility on one future moment, almost as if our future self is waiting for us on the other side of that milestone. Finally relaxed, finally confident, finally at peace. But life rarely works that way because every season comes with new responsibilities, new decisions, new uncertainties. If you've ever talked to someone who's financially successful, you've probably realized they still have worries. Different worries, but worries nonetheless. Which reminded me of something. Maybe the goal was never to build a life without uncertainty. Maybe the goal is learning how to navigate uncertainty without letting it consume us. That realization shifted something for me. Because instead of asking, how much money do I need before I finally feel okay? I started asking, what am I hoping that money will fix? And those are two very different questions. When we hear the word wealth, most of us immediately think about numbers, income, savings, investments, net worth. Those things absolutely matter. They're real, they're measurable, and they're worth building. But I think there's another kind of wealth that quietly shapes the quality of our lives. The kind that doesn't appear on a balance sheet. The kind that doesn't appear on a financial statement. The ability to enjoy the life you're working so hard to create. the confidence to make a financial decision without second guessing yourself for weeks, the resilience to recover from a financial mistake without believing you failed, the freedom to celebrate your progress instead of only focusing on how far you still have to go, the wisdom to recognize that someone else's success isn't evidence of your failure. To me, that's emotional wealth. And I don't think emotional wealth means never feeling stressed, or never feeling anxious, or never worrying about money again. I think emotional wealth is knowing that those emotions don't get the final say. It's learning how to respond instead of react. It's building enough self-awareness to ask, am I making this decision because it aligns with my values or because I'm afraid? The more I learn about finance, the more I realize that successful investing isn't only about understanding the market. It's also about understanding yourself. Because at some point, every financial decision becomes a human decision. And humans, we're emotional. We have fears, dreams, biases, stories, and none of that makes us bad with money. It makes us human. As I was preparing for this episode, I kept asking myself a question. What does it actually mean to feel wealthy? A year ago, I probably would have answered that question with a number. A certain salary, a certain amount invested, a certain amount in savings. And don't get me wrong, those goals still matter to me. I'm still working toward them. I'm still learning. I'm still investing in my future. None of that has changed. What has changed is my understanding of what those goals are really for. Because if my definition of wealth only exists in some future version of my life, then I'll always be waiting to feel successful. I'll always be waiting to feel grateful, and I'll always be waiting to enjoy the life I'm building. And I don't want to live that way. I want to celebrate the progress I'm making today, while still working toward the goals I have tomorrow. I want to build financial wealth because I believe it creates opportunities, but I also want to build emotional wealth because I believe that's what allows us to enjoy those opportunities when they arrive. Maybe real wealth isn't reaching a place where life never feels uncertain. Maybe it's becoming the kind of person who can face uncertainty without losing hope, who can make wise financial decisions without making money the measure of their worth, who can dream bigger without believing success has to wait until those dreams come true. And honestly, I think that's the kind of wealth I'm trying to build. Now, let's do our usual prayer. Let's take a deep breath and put our hand on our chest. Dear God, thank you for being faithful in every season of my life. Thank you for providing me in ways I've expected and in ways I never saw coming. Lord, help me pursue financial wisdom with humility. Give me the discipline to save, the courage to invest, the patience to keep learning, and the discernment to make decisions that honor both the future you've entrusted to me and the present you've given me. But also remind me that no amount of money could ever replace the peace that comes from trusting you. When I start believing that one more accomplishment, one more promotion, or one more financial milestone will finally make me feel complete. Gently remind me that my identity has never been found in what I own. Teach me to be ambitious without becoming anxious, to dream without constantly comparing, to build wealth with integrity, to be generous with what you've given me, and to remember that success means so much more than numbers. Help me to build a life that reflects wisdom, gratitude, purpose, and love. In Jesus' name, amen. Before we end today's episode, I want to leave you with something to think about this week. When you imagine the future you're working so hard to create, what are you hoping it will allow you to feel? Not what do you hope to own, not what title you hope to have, not what salary you hope to earn. How do you hope your life feels? Peaceful, secure, free, connected, present, because maybe those are things we can begin building today, even as we continue building our financial future. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope today's conversation reminded you that building wealth isn't about choosing between financial success and emotional well-being. I truly believe we need both. We can learn how to invest, plan for retirement, negotiate our salaries, build businesses, create generational wealth, and at the same time, learn to celebrate our progress, practice gratitude and mindfulness, strengthen our relationship with money, and build lives that feel just as meaningful as they look. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need this reminder today. And if you're enjoying these conversations, leaving a rating or a review is one of the best ways to help this podcast reach more people. Thank you for being here. Thank you for growing alongside me. And remember, any links I have are in the show notes and also in my Instagram bio. And until next time, keep building a future you're excited about. And don't forget to enjoy the person you're becoming along the way. I'll see you in the next episode.